Hi there, my name's Joel Gandara, and I'm an entrepreneur. I own a few businesses. One is a fulfillment center for e-commerce websites. I also coach entrepreneurs, and I'm happy you joined me. I'm going to answer a few questions. And I may say this often, but man, these are really good questions. I enjoyed reading these over. And here we go. First one is from Jonathan Jean Baptiste. How do I develop a sales pitch and process for calling on clients? Okay, so this is a good question for everyone as far as that goes. We're going to get into the details of that question in a second. Obviously, you want a process no matter what you're selling. I am a realtor in New York City. I was thinking of calling on companies that have their employees relocating. Any ideas of whom I should speak to, how to develop that lead list, and what I am asking them to provide me with? So here's the reality, Jonathan, the way I see things. And by the way, this isn't just to Jonathan. I'll focus on Jonathan's question and back to him in a second, but to everyone, you're going to get different input, right? You're going to get this answered. This may be the same question answered by 5 mentors here in Accelerators organization, maybe 10 mentors. And I think that's the beauty of it, to get everybody's different perspective on a topic. You're going to get my perspective, and here's how I see things. So, Jonathan, I'm the type of person, and if I was coaching you, this is how I would address this. We could talk about this for 5 minutes at most. But the moment that you wrote, I was thinking of calling on, boom, right there, do it. That's what I would do. I would start looking for companies and I would start having conversations because I don't know what I don't know. I could start thinking, well, here's what I need and here's what it's going to be like and here's my business plan. I've never written a business plan. I've never read a business plan. I don't even know what it is. I just like action. So I would start calling on companies. I don't care which company. I don't know, Google companies with people moving in and out the most, or companies growing in my area, whatever it is. And I would have a conversation with their human resources person. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And you may not know who that person is. You can look them up on LinkedIn, or better yet, you could just make calls and start asking around and start writing down these notes. And pretty soon you start talking to some good people and they start telling you what they need, because it's not about what you need, right? So you said how to develop that lead list and what I am asking them to provide me with. You're not asking them to provide you with anything. You just want to know what they need help with. How valuable are you that you come to them and say, I want to solve all your problems. I know you guys are probably moving in a lot of people to the area, and I want to know what you need. How can I streamline this for you so it's a smooth process and so that I can be your go-to person and you can have me on demand? You call me anytime, I'll take care of anything you need. Talk about value. You build yourself as like, why would they ever want to talk to anyone else if you're that valuable? And how do we become valuable to a client? Is worrying zero about ourselves. If we do the right things, the money will be there at the end for us. So all we have to worry about is the front end things, and the front end things are taking care of the client. It only matters whatever matters to them, right? If they say, you know what we really need is a list of rentals, and we need people, and you're talking about rentals, if you want to do rentals. If not, get it somebody you can send those to and maybe make a little commission on that. But if they say, you know, what we're really into is 3 bedroom homes or 2 bedroom apartments or whatever it is, then that's what you're going to focus on. But it's all directed by the customer. And in this case, the customer is that company. It's not the individual who's moving, right? The initial customer is that company that you're going to talk to. Which company to call? All of them, right? Call every single one of them. And if the list is too long, hire somebody on Upwork for, I don't know, $6, $8 an hour in another country that speaks good English, and have them set up appointments for you, and have them, give them a little sales pitch maybe of, hey, we're just finding out what you need. I work with Jonathan Jean Baptiste. He's a tremendous realtor in this area, and he helps companies just like you. And we want to have a conversation and set up calls. Maybe try that. I think that might work. But even if it doesn't, whatever, you're either going to succeed with that call or you're going to just gather information. All right, next question is from Vesna Dejanovska. How should I financially account for gifts or tips I receive from clients? And here's the detail of that question. I have an LLC and I have been doing free coaching sessions of 1 hour in order to do a market research for a new 3-month coaching program and to get testimonials if the prospective client is happy with the session. The calls are only for coaching and there's no sales, only a soft mention for the beta program if they should be a fit at the end. I was surprised about receiving thank you gifts to a personal Zelle account and gift cards after some of the free sessions, and a higher amount for the beta program. Should I account for that as income? Well, Best now. The IRS will answer that question for you. And the answer is yes. The government always wants to be paid, and the government will always be paid. Some people are going to answer this question very differently. You feel free to call me anytime. I know you're here local. You live a few miles from me. Um, the Yeah, the IRS wants to get paid. I personally pay all my taxes because I have very few fears in this life. Well, sharks, alligators, and the IRS. So I sleep very well because I don't go deep in the ocean, I don't swim in the Everglades, and I pay all my taxes. And it's easy for me because I'm in a business that it's all credit card processed, right? So there's a transaction record of everything. I don't have the temptation of somebody handing me $1,000 in cash and then being, kind of stuck on do I report it or not? But a very good friend of mine, who's my tax advisor, told me once that the IRS, there's you can get in trouble with the IRS in multiple ways, but two main ones are deducting something that isn't truly an expense. So, for example, I don't know, I buy this computer mouse, and it's not really for the business, but I put it as if it was a business expense. And if the IRS figures it out, and I don't think they're going to worry about a mouse, but a bigger machinery, and they figure it out, I'm going to get taxed for that. I'm going to get penalized. I'm probably not going to go to jail. But there is one way that you'll get taxed and penalized, but you will go to jail, and that's tax evasion. That's where you're not showing your income, you're hiding income, and that's a big crime. And yeah, I do not recommend doing that. So again, I'm not a tax advisor. I know nothing about that stuff. I just like to sleep at night. I probably overpay on my taxes because of that, but that's why I employ people who know a lot more about it. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Do whatever helps you sleep at night and keeps your nose clean and keeps you legal. Next question is from Vanessa de la Osa. This is another one down here in South Florida. And the question is, what platforms besides Instagram and Facebook do you suggest for sponsored ads? The details of that question are, I've been setting up my funnels for about a month, creating videos, email nurture sequence, the works, all in the attempt to automate the sale of my high ticket item. I was ready to launch my first sponsored ad last Saturday, and on Thursday, I got a notification that my ads account has been disabled. That was disheartening to say the least, and crazy demotivating. I have put in a request for review, but 4 days later, and no responses. Since then, I've been trying to come up with other ways to market, like organic content marketing, but that takes so much longer. And now I have to create so much more content. Not to mention, it gets me fans more than customers. Google Ads is my next thought, but I wouldn't even know where to start since the last few months I've been learning all the ins and outs of Facebook and completely left Google to the side. All right. So, Vanessa, I believe, because I went to your website, snapbackwithv.com, but I went to it really quickly just to make sure. And that was like yesterday or the day before when I got the questions. So I don't know exactly. I believe you might be coaching. I think that's what you do. So I have a coaching business and I have done no funnels. I have done no advertising or anything like that. And I had never really coached before. I mentored as a volunteer, like here and in other places for many years, maybe 15 years before I became a coach. And that kind of came about because Sean Thomas got me started on coaching. And my first year, it really became a real business with real revenue. And I'll tell you just how I did it. I set up a simple website that I had somebody do it. And you can look if this is in line. I don't know. I think you coach, but anyway, just an example. It's joelgandara.com. It's a coaching website. And that's it. And the other thing that I did is I set up a quarterly newsletter. So I sent an email every 3 months, 4 times a year. That's it. And that in itself. And on social media, I'll post things that are coach like. And from there, I get regular leads to the point where I do not take all the leads that I get. I try to pick the ones that I think are going to be the best fit, which is great. I don't have to force anything. So that's what's worked for me. And talk about simple, not reliant on Facebook or Instagram or Google or changed algorithms or iOS updates that make you could prepare all these funnels. And even if your account didn't get suspended or disabled, there could be some change that those type of funnels don't work anymore. So there's always something. And I'm not saying don't do it. I would explore everything. And I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. I'd look at Facebook. I'd look at Instagram. I'd look at Google. And as far as not knowing where to get started, just get started. Just go in there. There are people with half your intelligence having 10 times the success. And it's because they just have action. And they go in there and they do it and they go, let's see, what does this ad look like? Let me put a $10 budget on this ad and play with it. Okay, that got me this. Okay, I learned something from there. You're either going to get a client or you're going to learn. And if you don't get the client, that's okay, because you're learning. And 2, 3 weeks later, you're going to know so much more than when you started. And anybody who listens to my videos or talks to me, you know that I'm all about action. I'm not about just sitting back and waiting. Absolutely follow up with Facebook to see if they can turn that back on, or find out what the problem is. Get in a Facebook group and see if people are talking about it with steps and the best way to do it. But at the same time, start developing that Instagram content. Start developing the content you might use on Google. Start developing an email list and capture emails. When people visit your website, invite them to join the mailing list. Tell everybody you know. Tell all your friends and family, and have them tell somebody. Right? If they each tell one person, you'll now double your circle of influence. So that's my suggestion. It's just keep action going forward, and I think it's much better than just waiting and sitting around. And this is kind of parallel. Just like you got knocked down right now by Facebook, and I'm sure you're going to fix it and you're going to get it resolved. It's very disheartening, and that kind of reminds me of what, and anybody who sells on Amazon can share that with you, is that fear of selling on Amazon. You might have a great product, but you're selling it on somebody else's platform, helping them make a ton of money, and tomorrow they could turn it off. Or if you're too successful, tomorrow Amazon will just knock you off and they'll copy your product and they'll put it on top, and you'll be way at the bottom and very hard to find. So I like businesses where we are not reliant on these vendors and these and these and these, and they can do whatever they want with us. So that's my recommendation. Try to find a way that, whether it's organic or word of mouth, whatever it is, that you will always control your destiny. Hope that helps, Vanessa. All right. The next question is from Vesna Dejanovska, who asked one earlier on this chat. So I think she's getting her money's worth out of AO. She's reaching out to mentors. She's a young lady, and she's reaching out to us old guys and maybe some old girls who have been around a little longer and share that. That's smart of you, Vesna. Her question is, could you please advise about charging a value-based pricing model based on the results? Example, a percentage of any salary increase the client receives, not only a fixed/hourly rate. And here's the background to that question. I have a new coaching business, and I help 2 people receive significant salary increases by doing an assessment and coaching them how to approach and negotiate. The latest one got a 24% increase on his annual base, which affects his bonus, 401k, etc., or 120% more of the dollar amount that he was hoping he could get if successful. The other one received an offer and loved the new job role so much and wanted to accept immediately, even though she was expecting slightly more. I worked with her for a couple of weeks on her negotiations, and the new employer revised the offer 4 times until she signed. The final offer was 45% higher, with a higher percentage for bonus and many extra benefits than the initial offer, and exceeded by far her own expectations. Thank you in advance. I appreciate a lot of your help. So Vesna, fantastic. Congratulations. It sounds like you are really helping people, because those 2 examples are recent and they are extraordinary. I just want to, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning of this, the reason that you want to hear from a lot of mentors, and AO gives you that access, is this is unprecedented. I had one mentor at one point in my life, and that was like life-changing. I did not have this buffet to pick from and hear everybody's opinion. This would have helped me accelerate much faster in my life. So I hope you take advantage of all these people talking to you here on these questions. That question of yours is a little bit difficult, right? Because, okay, I agree about being hourly. That you don't want to be an hourly person, that you're keeping track. You're like this annoying person. Hey, that was 7 hours. And they say, I thought it was 6. I wouldn't want to do that. I made that mistake in the beginning. And so fixed is good. It could be, hey, it's a retainer for the month and it's this much. Or if you want to complicate it a little bit, but yet let the person not be on the hook for so much money, you could say, I don't know, it's $500 as a fee. And then, this is just an example, you don't have to say that. And then whatever the annual contract is above what you're currently making, I don't know, I get 10% of that. So immediately they get to think, well, wait a minute. Vesna is only going to earn 10% of the additional amount, right? So in this case, the person got, in one of these examples, they got 45,000 more than they earned before. Let's just say that was the number. That's 45,000. Well, in that case, if you get 10% of that, it's $4,500. So if the numbers kind of make sense like that, maybe you can sell it that way. Because to me, I wouldn't want to give you a percentage on the part that you're going to get me what I already earned. So if I earn 100,000 and you got me $110,000 job, I don't want to give you 10% of the 110,000. I'll give you 10% of the extra 10,000 that you got me. That way, it seems very contingent. You got to go do your work, and I know you're on my side now. I know you're working for me. You're not just going to get a commission on the standard thing, which is kind of a turnoff if you did it that way, I think. So play with the numbers, you know what they are, and see how that works. Now, here's the part where it's about thinking a little bit differently. Right now, incomes have been doing this, and I haven't read it, but I see it as an employer, as a business owner, as a person in society, hearing how people are getting all these raises. But I hope you realize that we are possibly setting ourselves up for a big financial collapse coming up soon. Look at the debt that's been incurred over the last couple of years. Look at the mortgage amounts that people are paying, monthly mortgage. They've gotten into new 30-year mortgages, so they're on the hook for the next 30 years at a much higher dollar amount. I read that recently. I'll throw a number. Maybe before people had an average of $2,000 monthly mortgages. Now it's something like 2,800, and it's a whole new 30 years, something like that, right? Because prices have gone up. I'm sure everybody locked in on low rates, but if a recession kicks in and people start losing their jobs, they're not going to be able to pay those mortgages. And that's going to be a tumbling effect. You're already seeing it with mortgage lenders laying people off, tech companies in California, Netflix, uh, Amazon, a lot of them are laying people off. So I don't think this huge increase is going to continue to happen forever, obviously. And I think it could be stopping pretty soon. So what could happen? Yes, you could coach people and help them get the best dollar amount in the market for today, but that might not be much of an increase because a lot of these people might start losing their jobs or being told, hey, we're going to lay you off in the next month or two. And then if they do hire you, you may not be able to get them more than they're currently earning because I think incomes are going to come down. So just keep that in mind. One scenario works under one economic system, and another scenario, like a fixed fee, might work better under a different economic system. All right, this is the last question. It's from Kristen Lander. What can I do to continue to bring in revenue when clients are canceling due to the economy? My coaching business has a very high retention rate, and clients normally work with us for 12 to 18 months or more. In the last 6 weeks, we've lost a lot of clients, citing the economy as their reason. I'm losing more clients than I lost even at the start of the pandemic. Well, I didn't set these questions in this order, but in the previous one, I was talking about how there's signs of a big recession coming, potentially. I don't know. And this question by Kristen is indicating her experience right now is that there is an economic issue that's affecting people. Kristen, I'm sorry to hear this. Obviously, everything's cyclical. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. The good thing is it will go back up. I personally, if I saw this happening and I was dependent on uh, this income from coaching, I would dig in a little deeper. I would have coffee with these clients if they're local, or lunch, or I would have a scheduled call with them and say, look, I need your help. I want to talk to you about what you think I could be doing better. I know I didn't get you to renew, and that's fine. I totally respect that, but I need your advice, because who better to really dig in deep? And when you have that conversation, I would encourage you to ask a lot of questions and then just be quiet and let them talk. Because, and I don't know Kristen, I'm not saying she talks a lot. I do. I talk a lot. So I always have to tell myself to stop and listen. So, Kristen, try to find out, get to the bottom of that and see what issues they're really having. Maybe yes, the economy's bad. Okay, the economy's bad, but they probably didn't cancel their cable. They probably didn't go turn their car into the dealer. They're probably still paying some expensive. They're probably still going to the movies. They're going out on Friday nights. They're doing stuff. And they just didn't think you were high enough on that totem pole of importance to keep you employed with them. So I really encourage you, because we could talk about it till we're blue in the face. Who's going to know better than why they really canceled you? And I'll tell you something. People often don't want to hurt feelings. People are, in general, I think, very nice, and they want to let you down softly, but that's not very kind. To me, being clear is kind. It's probably why I don't have a lot of friends, because I'm very open and I'm very honest and I say how it is. But people won't do that because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So if you could peel back that layer in a conversation, especially in person, and I'd preempt it or remind them throughout the conversation about how, hey, I've got very thick skin. You're not going to hurt my feelings. you would actually help me a lot if you would just dig in a little deeper. Sure, the economy's bad, but you have other expenses, and you're not the only one who told me this. A couple other clients have told me, so I'm trying to learn what's in their mind, and maybe by you telling me, you can help me improve in that situation, right? Somebody just told me the other day. So I have a friend who owns a gym, and I'm involved with their business a little bit, and his partner is handling the leads that come in, and or the leads, and then also maintaining the current ones, right? And he told them, people are just quitting because the economy. Well, this isn't a major expense in life, and it's a really good gym that they go to. And the partner who knows a lot about this business, has been doing it for like 30 years, told the other partner who's younger and less experienced. He said, no, people may tell you these reasons, but the real reason they're leaving a gym like this one, because it's a martial art and they're fighting, and it's two reasons. They feel unsafe because you could break a bone, you could crack your head open if you're not being taken care of by the professors who are teaching it, or the place is really dirty, right? Because you're rolling on these mats, and it, see hair all over the place, or people sweat and they're not cleaning it between classes, or you get ringworm or something on your body. People will quit for those things, but they're not going to admit it. In this case, I'll tell you, especially guys. A guy's not going to go to the professor and say, I feel really gross about this mat. It's dirty. Or I feel really unsafe because the other day I hurt my arm because the person you put me against was really tough and I'm not as strong. Guys aren't going to admit that. And this sport is majority men. So that's the example I'm giving you. But the beauty of this, and this just happened the other day, is that this 30-year veteran experienced in this industry just told me something related to what you're asking, which is, you know, or it's people are not going to come out and just tell you what it is, right? So somewhere, and I don't mean to sound negative, but blame yourself and say, wait, what am I doing that they're not putting me? Sure, they're scared about the economy, but why are they paying their other bills and they drop me? What am I doing wrong? What could I turn around? What could I push a little harder on? And again, what better way to know that than to talk to the people who hold the purse string and write the check? All right, guys, I hope that helped. I don't know that everything that I said was pertinent and effective to every single one of you that is watching, but I know somebody out there is hearing this and something worked for them, whether you're watching it live or you watch it in a replay. I know at one point in your life, you're going to get some value out of these mentor sessions. And something that I found is oftentimes I'll hear something and it doesn't apply, it doesn't bring value, but then I'll revisit that, whether it's a book I read or something I looked into. And later in my life, now it makes perfect sense. So the teacher shows himself or herself when the student is ready. So for the one or two or three of you that got something out of this, it looks like you were ready to hear this message, whichever one it was. And I really hope you got some value out of it and you took action to get it going. Thank you guys. Have a great day.